Today, we'll be tying the purple haze. Hey everyone, Matt here with the Northern Angler. If you don't know us yet, we're a small, independent fly shop located in Traverse City, Michigan. You can learn more about our fly shop and full guide service at thenorthernangler.com. The purple haze is a great mayfly imitation for when you're out prospecting, just looking for opportunistic fish. The version we're tying today is a little bit different from the original. We're going to be using some turkey buyouts that offer some great natural segmentation and make this fly just a breeze. Let's go ahead and take a look at the materials we'll be using today. For the hook, we'll be using a TMC 100 today. You can tie this as large as a 12, but I really think 14s and 16s are the sweet spot for this fly. Uni 8/0 will be our thread today in purple. A few strands of moose body are going to work as our tail. This is a great durable material that you should be putting in your flies. Turkey buyouts are going to be our body. This is an easy material to use that provides a lot of natural segmentation. For the post, EP fibers in white. I use this fiber a lot. It's easy to work with, readily available, and it looks great. For the parachute, you can use hackle from either a saddle or a cape. Doesn't really matter, but I really like Coachman brown going with this purple color scheme. Don't forget, the entire material list is available through a link in the description. All right, once you have your hook securely in the vise, we're going to start the thread right around the eye. You can do an eye length back if you want. It's not a big deal with this fly. And we're going to build just a thin thread base. Trim your excess. And we're going to work back to the barb. That is going to be our kind of our placeholder for where we're going to tie in our tail material. And once I'm here, I'm going to add a few wraps and just create a little thread bump here. And that's going to help splay out our tail material, which we're using moose body here, which is, I mean, if you're in Michigan, moose body is the material. There's no doubt about it. It's stiff, it's long, it's durable, and it doesn't have the longest tips, which means it just looks really good, not too delicate. We have some pretty big mayflies here, and it's nice to have a perfect material for that. So I trimmed about 10 pieces here. I'm going to thin that out, pull the fluff off the bottom, and I'll stack probably 8 or so, and then I'm just going to select a few from that stack. Tips down in the stacker as always. You don't have to do too many of these. And then remove those pieces. I'm going to pull a few more out of here. I got more than I need. My goal is to end up with 4 or 5. I got a little fiber stuck in there. There we go. Now here I'm going to measure 1 shank length. Really don't need a whole lot more for this fly. It's not a huge chunky fly. It's just kind of a intermediate size fly. So we're going to do just a standard shank length. Transfer that measurement. And we're going to use a pinch wrap. That's going to help keep this material on top of the shank. I'm going to do 2 wraps and then add a third off the back. Check. Make sure we're nice and splayed out there. And then I'm going to wrap on top of this material pretty much all the way up the shank. There's no real need to trim this off early. I figure let's just add this and incorporate it into the taper of the body. Work our thread about back to the midway point. And here we're going to use our body material, which is a turkey buyout. Now, if you've not worked with turkey buyouts, don't be intimidated. They're very easy to use, but know that you should be using this side that's tightly bound to the stem instead of this that sticks out. And you can buy these pre-trimmed, so you may not even have this issue, but that's pretty important detail. And then when you get one, you want to pull it off. That gives you just a little bit more material to work with and pinch with your hackle pliers when it comes time to wrap this. Now, one important thing to note as we go to tie this in is there's a convex and a concave side to this. So there's a curvature And I want to tie this in with the convex side facing upwards. And then I'm actually going to wrap it. I'm going to introduce a little bit of twist, and so that the convex side is facing downward. And I'm just going to take the tip. I'm going to pinch my thumb and index finger here and use this angle pressed against the near side of the hook, and see that thread tension is going to carry it to the top side of the shank. And from there, I'm just going to wrap it back. You do not need a ton of thread tension. I'm just wrapping back to the base of the tail. Then I'm going to work up. Now, typically with a parachute style fly, I'm going to tie the post in here, but I really want to maximize the use of this biot. So we're going to wrap the entire thing, then we're going to work back on it on top of this with thread. Now, if you can, use your hackle plier in line. You don't want an angle here, it's not going to help you much. And here I'm going to introduce just that little twist. This way I'm using the rotary function here. And be gentle here. This is always the point where it can break. I'm going to slowly start working up the shank, touching wraps, keeping it nice and even. Now I'm going to work up to, I'm touching the eye. And I'm going to remove the cradle, wrap on this. And it gets pretty wide up at the front, so be gentle tying this off. Once you get it tied off, it's a nice durable material, but until then, it can cause you some issues. I'm going to work back on top of this with the thread. That's going to help increase the durability here. Plus, we're not going to use any dubbing on this fly. I've tried some different dubbings, and thread just works the best for me. I mean, it's purple, it works. From here, we need to add our post material, and we're going to use EP fibers like we have on lots of previous flies. I just like this stuff. It's easy to work with. And once I have a nice little thread base created here, don't worry about building this up too much. Lay those fibers down, pinch wrap, keep them on top of the shank. 2 or 3 wraps. Now I worked too far back there, so we're going to move forward. There we go. Wraps in front, wraps behind. And then you can start to bring your nozzle vertical and work this post out. Now I'm going to go up a little bit, not too much. Not quite a full gap length that is between the point of the hook and the shank. And because this is a little bit lighter thread, we're using 8/0 here, I'm going to go up and down twice with some real focus on the base of this. Looks great. You can trim it square if you want. We're going to trim it off later, obviously. And then I've already measured out a hackle size to a 14, but we're going to prep it. And this is a saddle fiber here, not a neck hackle. You can use either. Both are going to work. You just get a lot more flies out of one of these. All right, preen those fibers down. Then we're going to prep these by trimming some of this hackle away. And this, all these little barbules here are going to give you lots of purchase. 1, 2, go 1 behind. If I don't trap all these fibers. Add a little twist there. And then I'm going to go underneath, actually, behind, and then back to the front. Trim off all the excess. And then I'm going to come back underneath just one more time. And this is kind of important. I'm actually going to rest the thread on my near side. Now I can begin wrapping this. Take your time when you're getting this started, because that first wrap sets the tone. Make sure it's at the base. We're shooting for about 3 wraps up, 3 wraps down. Don't need much more than that. Okay, Now, to secure this hackle, I already have the thread on my near side. I'm going to wrap around the base, try not to, I'm doing this little wiggle here, trying not to trap too many fibers. And then we go underneath the hackle, same deal. And then one more on top as well. And then I'm going to use my thumb and index finger, pinch the hackle out of the way. Take your time here. And I'm going to finish the head and bring my thread up so it's ready for that final step, the whip finish. Again, bring your hackle out of the way the best you can. Try not to trap too many. We did pretty good on this one. Thread broke off, that's okay. Bring the hackle down, reach in with your scissors, really delicate here, take your time. Trim that. Trim any errant fibers you might have, pretty good looking. There's one there. One or two there. And then we're just need to, I work my hackle down so it's not shooting too much up in a V. And then I'm going to grip this post, trim it off so it's just about the gap between the point and the shank. And that's it. That's the Purple Haze. Well, that's it for us today, everyone. I hope you get a chance to tie a few of these up and try them out on the water. If any of this information was helpful, think about leaving us a thumbs up. That's a big help for us. And as always, leave us some comments down below. We'd love some feedback on these tutorials. We have a lot of fun doing them. And I'd just like to say thanks so much for the support. It's been really nice to hear all that. If you'd like to support this channel, think about checking out thenorthernangler.com for all your fly fishing and fly tying needs. At the very least, try and support your local fly shops. I know they'll appreciate it. Thanks a lot, everyone. We'll see you soon in the shop or out on the water.